Hello, ladies, gents, and non-binary people. Romie Mojo here. Please like, comment, subscribe. Look, Frappuccino Grande, Frappuccino Macchiato Grande, Ariana Grande does not, I repeat, does not make bad albums. So, with that being a statement and a fact, how can Positions be a bad album? Here's the thing. I understand in 2020, especially mainstream artists are not doing the type of production choices that she did for Positions. I understand that people feel like, okay, if you're a real fan and you were there from the beginning with yours truly, so thankful to be a part of that. As far as listening. And then it's like, oh, okay, and you heard Sweetener, and of course you heard Thank You Next. When you hear Positions, you hear, oh, wait a minute, that sounds a little bit like this. That sounds a little bit like that. First of all, that's what happens when you have a discography. Every artist known to man's music at some point later on down the line sounds similar, has similar elements from earlier music. So this whole concept that, oh, you know, this kind of sounds like this. This sounds like a track that should have gone on Thank You Next, or a track that they were even working on for Sweetener. That probably was the case, or maybe even parts of it probably was the case. Every album that someone does brings them to where they need to be now. So with that being said, for people who did not like Sweetener, which I did like Sweetener, and I went on the tour, and trust me, the music sounded even better live than on the recordings. I feel like people who didn't like Sweetener, if you went on that tour, you would have at least liked some of the music. People who loved Thank You Next, you have to keep in mind that Thank You Next was a time where Sweetener, things were slowly calming down from, we know what happened, and then more stuff happened. Boom. I'm gonna take that out. More things happened, and because of that, it caused her to just go and spiral, and it was either, I'm either gonna quit or I'm going to dive into the music even harder than she did before, and that's what happened, and that's how we got Thank You Next. Now on with Positions, because Positions is an album where she clearly went back. People are like, oh, they hear the 90s. Yeah, some of the 90s styling, yes, but obviously even from the marketing that she's doing, the pictures that she's doing for the album work, more so like, what is that, the 50s, 60s type of doo-wop-y. And again, it makes sense because Ariana, at her core, and if you've ever actually listened to her just talk about music and the stuff that she more so likes and prefers, it's definitely more so, it's always going to have a theatrical element somewhere. Always somewhere in her albums. It just goes without saying. And then kind of moving to the softer sounds, that's more so, and even with her voice, because she came out the gate just belting and singing and her presence being known on these tracks, I think it created this illusion that that's just what she likes to do. That's just how she likes to sing. That's just the type of music that you're always going to get from her. And she was trying to tell people, not exactly. But because people are like, oh, well, this is what we love, and at least we get a couple of this album, a couple of this from that album, it turns it into a so there weren't a bunch of 808s on here. There wasn't a whole lot of bass throughout this album. Okay, she wasn't singing. And I will admit, when I first started to listen to Positions, we start off with Shut Up. Yeah. And the whole thing was, even I had to catch myself. I was thinking, wait, what am I listening to here? What am I listening to here? And I had to do that because I got used to album openers like Honeymoon Avenue. I got used to album opener, even Raindrops, which is a cappella. But it was just bigger sounding. I got used, imagine That is underrated. Imagine is underrated, and it's irritating that it's so underrated. But like I was saying, it's one of those things where you're hearing these strings. I'm like, okay, I'm being brought back in time when it comes to Shut Up. Again, getting more whimsical, Broadway. This is a crutch word, but we'll say Disney-esque, and people will understand that. And I thought, okay. Honestly, I was like, oh, so this is the whole thing, but the strings were so good that that's what was holding me. And of course, the melodies, along with what she was doing with her background vocals, and I was just like, oh, okay. This album in general, I had to at least listen to it 2 more times to really, really get into it. And now I'm like, oh no, I love this. Oh no, I love this. But initially, definitely more used to louder sounds again, more bass, more 808s, just more belts, all of that. And again, you normally will get more of that from Ariana Grande, which again, I understand why people who, especially if they only really started to pay attention to her from Thank You Next and then came to here, were like, wait, huh? Who? Huh? But the music, the quality, the production level of the tracks, first off, we need to, because her vocals, the engineering on that, and when I say engineering, I just mean the clarity, fullness, sound quality. Stop listening to me, phone. I was like, oh, and this is in quarantine. Oh, we spent some money. We still spent some money, even though this is in quarantine. So I loved that. I have to be honest, 34 plus 35. I didn't initially get it. I was saying, why are people freaking out? And I was listening to the lyrics. I said, what are we doing here? And it took me a while to realize, just add it. Because I overthink things. So once I just added it, I realized, oh, that's what we're doing here? That's what we're doing here? That's what we're doing here? Works for me. But again, even with that, with the production, you hear the lyrics, but it again, sounds lighthearted. So it's like you're not supposed to take it seriously. And I think that's kind of the issue that some people are having, where they want to take Ariana Grande seriously because they just see her as this young looking woman with ponytails and a certain aesthetic. And so then they hear the music and they're like, okay, we're starting to hear a more mature sound. And then they get this, which is actually really mature lyrically. But I can see where people would be like, what's going on here? But I'm glad that she's sticking to what she wants to do and what she likes. And clearly there's a big market for that. Motive is easily one of the top 3 or top 4 songs on this album that I replay often. And that's the thing. There's a huge difference between songs not being good, songs being bad, and then songs just having a lot of replay value. Motive is a song that has a lot of replay value. So maybe if we're talking about singles, that might be a song that could be chosen. And again, it's another track where you're listening to her lyrics and what she's saying, and she's painting a picture, and you have to listen to, again, this album for people who love vocals, and specifically background vocals and harmonies and stacking and layering. This is an album for you. A lot of casual music listeners don't really pay attention to that. So again, I can see why they may feel a certain way. But when Doja comes in and she has that, baby want to smoke, I said, Doja, you want to spoil me with that? Okay. It's funny though, I feel like I can hear another feature on Motive, unless some people are saying maybe just have more of Doja throughout the track. That could work too, because Doja is definitely really good at playing with her tones and also the different voices that she can do. It's not one-dimensional. Just like Magic from a production standpoint, I really enjoy. Switch up from the first couple of tracks, And when you're listening to the lyrics, you're like, oh, okay, this is cutesy. So again, that's the thing. She kind of flips back and forth where it's like, oh, the production might be cutesy, but the lyrics may be like, oh my gosh. The lyrics may be cutesy, or the production will be like, oh my gosh. So, but for this album, you have to be willing to go and just woosah, calm down, relax. When I first listened to this album, I was not in a calm state of mind, so I was kind of waiting for that rush from the production, music, vocals that this album wasn't intended for, so that did throw me off. But just like magic, again, it's a vibe, and it's under 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Under 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I appreciate an album that's under an hour. Up off the table. Production value from Off the Table alone brings you into a different tier. And it definitely sounds like something more so The Weeknd would initially choose. So I love the fact that he's on there. I love the fact that Ariana chose it. If you're looking for a track that more so has a vocal that you're used to from Ariana, Off the Table. And the message, that song is actually sad, and it is a little bit slower, but the production keeps you going, because actually it's right around the 4-minute mark. So the harmonies, again, throughout the entire album, but especially on a track like this, and then when Abel comes in, I love the fact that their vocals are clearly different and distinctive. It wasn't like they're just trying to match each other, because it's supposed to create a parallel. So I love that. And Ariana was singing. I know she's like, I'm not doing the whole ballad thing anymore, but she did give us Off the Table, so thank you. 6:30, a cute little bop. Are you down? That, like, once she said, are you down, what's up? I said, okay, this will give people something. And when I say something, I mean the people who are just casual music listeners can be like, oh, okay, this is cute. This is more so my speed. So happy for you. I'm so happy for you. And then one of my favorite songs off of this album, Safety Net, featuring the King, Ty Dolla $ign. I already knew there were some doubters. I don't know what was wrong with them. They must have been stressed because of all the stuff going on. But I said, wait a minute. Ariana working with Ty Dolla? The song's called Safety Net? Oh, wait. Because there is no way. This is not amazing. Safety Net, again, sounds like a single. It sounds like a song that would last a while on the radio. Tripping, falling with no safety net. And then, I don't know what it is, but in the background, it definitely, again, still kind of gives me The Weeknd. I almost felt like, wait, was Abel supposed to be on this too? And then the surprise of the album, My Hair. I said, wait a minute. This is giving me slight elements of whether it's jazz, pop, R&B, neo-soul. I said, she went back into the 90s and grabbed this track. And then went even farther back. Man. Another one of my favorite songs, because I just love the chillness. Still my, even when she goes higher, it's still chill. Well, I don't know if we call it chill, but it's easy listening. And then her harmonizing with herself is always a great time. Because either way, the fact that she did the whole last part, like I said, oh. And they're still trying to. If you have not heard My Hair, listen to it right now. Nasty did not disappoint. Nasty did not disappoint. I mean, she's giggling and then starts whistling or hitting notes really high. I'm like, it's so far in the back. I'm like, wait, I'm hearing this, right? And of course, Victoria Monet's on this wrote. Of course. So why was Westside a little bit over 2 minutes? Why? More favorite. And then we get Love Language, which I'm like, hey. Love Language, definitely jazzy. My language. Positions. I did not react to Positions because I had a feeling it was going to be a song that I will need to listen to a couple of times, and I was right. There's just elements that did not stick out to me initially, and I was like, okay, this is cute. After the 4th or 5th listen, I was like, oops. I think Positions was the right single. Some of these songs, actually a lot of these songs do require an album setting to really initially appreciate them more. So I do think choosing Positions that had a production style that was a little bit closer to what people are used to currently was a smart choice. But when I originally was listening to Positions, I was like, huh. Because all the way she normally would structure the song and sing and add these things, she wasn't doing. So I said, okay, we're getting something different. That's what told me we were getting something different. Obvious is a bop. There's nothing else to say about Obvious. Again, a lot of this is chill, but it's not. It's really hard to explain once to say something is chill, but it's not. But that's how I would describe most of the album. But that hook is so strong. I will agree with everyone. Normally I don't, but POV. POV is the best song on the album. It is. It's so somber and it feels so appropriate for now that this live is going to be crazy because it's just one of those tracks that I feel like everything that she was doing on the album, in my opinion, came perfectly together for this track. The lyrics, the development of, hey, things still aren't perfect, but they're getting better, and I'm still growing. The self-reflection in it, perfect album closer. And so yeah, that was my review / defending of Positions. Yeah, I think based on what Ariana wanted to do for this album, she achieved that. And to me, that means she wanted to create an album that doesn't sound like anything else that's out there. It's because it's done in her styling that it can work. In the same time, I think if almost any other artist that wasn't as big or have so many interests in different genres, it wouldn't, or the type of genres that they would be interested in merging and doing, it wouldn't have worked the same. So yeah, that's it. Please like, comment, subscribe. I do a lot of reactions. I think I'm going to pick up TV show reviews again because some TV is starting to interest me again. So yeah, check all of that out. I also have a Patreon. I'm still getting that together. There will be free content and also paid content on there. So yeah, and let me know if you have any reactions that you want me to do. Because of copyright, sometimes I can't do that on YouTube, but I can put it on my Patreon. Thank you.